is being taken. Joseph Opoku Gakpo joins me in studio with more on this. So how did it all unfold?
It started in the morning. Sarah Adwoa-Safo, the Deputy Majority Leader, addressed the media briefing in Parliament House and indicated that the incident that happened on the floor yesterday with the display of the placards, when the Speaker himself, who is currently out of the jurisdiction, is back, they are going to officially draw the House attention to this so that then action is taken on that. But once on the floor, her other colleagues on the majority side got ahead of her. The Deputy Majority Chief Whip, Martin Yundam, officially drew the attention of the Speaker, First Deputy Speaker Joseph Osei, who was in the chair, to the situation and said that he should extract an apology from the minority on that. It became a debate because he quoted portions of the standing orders of Parliament and indicated that when comments are made against MPs which are considered unparliamentary, then an apology has to be made subsequently based on the Speaker's ruling. But James Savage, who is the Deputy Minority Leader, made two major arguments. First of all, he said that the comments that were made were actually not the comments, but the said incident was not targeted at an MP because then she hadn't been sworn in yet. And secondly, he indicated that per the standing orders, the reference is to speeches that are made on the floor. But this was a case of display of placards, so there wasn't a situation of speeches being made. There was a back and forth argument for about an hour, and eventually the Speaker gave a ruling and directed that the leadership on the side of the minority should apologize on behalf of the minority MPs who display the placards.
Did that happen?
They refused to do that. James Savage, Muntaka Mubarak insisted that they were not going to apologize because they think nothing wrong was done. And they said that the standing orders of the House don't make provision for someone else apologizing for, in quotes, the sins of another individual. And so Jose Usu backtracked eventually and said that instead of an apology, he is asking the clerk of the House to watch the footage and identify the said individuals who brought out the placards and ensure that they are referred to the Privileges Committee for action to be taken against them.
Properly speaking, I should have just picked out those who were holding the placards and referred them to the appropriate committee. I was trying to bring the matter back quietly by asking the leadership to apologize. Now the leadership says they did not hold it, and they are right. None of them were holding it. So what I'll do is I'll ask the clerks to get the tapes of the proceedings of yesterday, and then the specific individuals who were seen holding those placards will be dealt with specially.
So after all this, Joseph, we also know that Alhassan Suhuyini was asked to walk out by the Speaker. What did he do?
So in the midst of the debate, the minority backbench was making the point forcefully to their leadership that they shouldn't apologize, as the Speaker was asking of the minority. And Suhuyini is one of the MPs who, right from the backbench, was making the point to his leadership, that they shouldn't accept this. And eventually the Speaker identified him as someone who was disturbing proceedings and asked that he be walked out by the Marshal of the House.
Honorable member for Tamale North. Honorable, can you leave the House? Honorable member for Tamale North, can you leave the House? Please, Marshal, ensure that you leave the House. Yes. Order! 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 I thought that in order to bring this matter to a close, we would just apologize and let go. It doesn't appear to me that that is the path
You heard that the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Owusu, on what transpired earlier leading to the walkout of Alhassan S. Suhuyini. And we're privileged to have him join us on the line, Tamale North MP Alhassan S. Suhuyini. And of course, we have the Majority Chief Whip as well, Matthew Nyendam. Thank you very much, Deputy Majority Chief Whip, I beg your pardon. Thank you very much for your time here, gentlemen. So I'll start with you, Honourable Suhuyini. So what really happened? Why were you disrupting proceedings in Parliament today?
Well, let me say thank you very much for the opportunity, MFR. Good evening and good evening to our cherished listeners. I am happy that you have played excerpts of what happened in Parliament today. And you would have noticed that even after I was asked to walk out, the Speaker was still at pains to call some other members who were still, maybe by his interpretation, being unruly to order. And it leaves me wondering why he didn't have the patience to call me to order, but to walk me out. Even before my name was mentioned, he had mentioned other MPs by their name and asked them to conduct themselves. But when it came to me, the patience to tolerate whatever he considered to be disrupting the process was that short. And he had to go for, that very extreme measure of asking me to walk out. I just leave it for the judgment of observers.
Do you think that you were treated unfairly by the Speaker?
I leave it to the judgment of observers. And as you played the excerpts, you would have noticed that even after I was walked out, he had the patience to still call for other members to conduct themselves and to observe order in the House. He did not exact the same level of punishment. And before my name was mentioned, he had mentioned, for example, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Honourable Kennedy Ajapong, and asked him to comport himself. As to whether he did not extend that same courtesy to me, only God can tell.
But is everything that happened today, is it not embarrassing for you as an MP that you'll be said to misconduct yourself to the extent that you'll be walked out by the Parliament's marshals?
Well, that is if the conclusion is that I indeed misconducted myself beyond what has ever happened in the Parliament of Ghana or any other parliament. The fact is that heckling is part of the parliamentary process. And the fact, again, is that I was not the only person heckling. And the fact, again, is that the Speaker himself admitted that he has been part of heckling before in the House. I don't know if he was also, exacted the same level of punishment.
But, Honourable, did you misconduct yourself in Parliament today?
I engage in what parliamentarians engage in when they do not have the Speaker's eye to speak and are very concerned about the process of the House. Many parliamentarians across the world and in this country have engaged in heckling. Today, I was not the only person engaged in heckling. And look, I think it is embarrassing, the levels that we are reducing our democracy to. I think that if we ask for fairness, it is always important that we come with clean hands. And that was what I sought to put across. And I think the Speaker heard me when he said that he will identify the culprits and make them face the Privileges Committee. What I shouted across was that, indeed, that will be fair. And he should expect that they will go and meet Kennedy Ajapong at the Privileges Committee. And whatever they are doing to protect him, even though everybody considers his conduct unparliamentary, they should not expect anything different. Because, you see, in our society, nobody accepts the fact that you keep your stubborn child in your bedroom and give him sweets, whilst you pick a stick to help another beat his stubborn child. If we are calling for equity, it is important that at all times we do so with clean hands. And that was the point I sought to make, which I think the Speaker found to be true, but uncomfortable, and so asked me to walk out. And I did so with the pride that I could gather at the moment. Because many have even, paid dearly with they have paid the ultimate price for what they believe in. And so if my price was just asking me to walk out for the day, I think that was even like a pat on the shoulder.
Mr. Suhuyini, what really is it between you and the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Joseph Owusu? Is there a personal issue between the two of you?
I think he's a fine gentleman. I don't know what he thinks about me.
Well, but were you one of those MPs that held up the Bloody Widow placard in Parliament? Were you one of them?
I wasn't. I wasn't in the House. But you see, again, it is important that we show our concern, and I acknowledge the concerns that have been expressed by many well-meaning Ghanaians who may have misconstrued the intention of those who held up placards, and rightfully express concern. It is important that we accept that, but it's also important that we separate those people from those who just seek to play mere partisan politics with this issue, because the fact of the matter is that, like our deputy leader explained, at the time that the placards were being held, the honourable member was, first of all, not a member of parliament at the time. So why are they seeking to extend privileges that she was not entitled at the time? Again, clearly, when the debate went on, members explained that the placard was not targeted at her status as a widow. It was targeted at the process that she is a beneficiary of. And the fact that until today, she had not shown remorse or condemnation of the process that produced her. She has not even had the courtesy to visit those husbands that are hospitalized. And the fact that one of them may lose his leg.
She's been, by the way, she's been to the hospital today, Mr. Sweeney. Let's just clarify that. She's been to the hospital, and actually, we would have to let you go, Mr. Sweeney. We are grateful for your time, but we must say that Lydia Seyram Alhassan was at the 37 Military Hospital today. In fact, she actually footed the bills of these assaulted persons, or those who have been shot, up to about 5,000 Ghana cedis. My colleague, Kwesi Parker Wilson, will join us
shortly on that. But let's stay in Parliament for a short while, because today we know the Speaker took the unprecedented action of referring the number of minority members to the Privileges Committee. This probably in parliamentary history will be the first time when that number of people will go to the Privileges Committee at a go, because there's several of them who were hoisting the Bloody Widow placard yesterday. All of them will be identified with the videos, and all of them will go before the Privileges Committee. The minority, they are fighting that, and they say, one, they will not apologize, and two, they will take on the decision today as delivered by the Speaker. Let's speak to the Deputy Majority Whip, Martin Nyindam, who in fact tabled the motion for the apology to be rendered. Mr. Nyindam, so how practical is it for Parliament to refer all these MP, more than a dozen, to the Privileges Committee?
Well, Evans, let me say hi to your listeners, and then let me offer my good brother Sohini, Honorable Sohini, this advice. He's a young member of Parliament. He's decided to build his political career in Parliament, and it's a good thing, but he has to also acknowledge that if you come to the House of Parliament, it comes with a different character, different behavior. There are rules in the House, and you must respect them. It is unfortunate he has decided not to acknowledge that that was not the first time the Speaker mentioned him and asked him to conduct himself properly. The second attempt was when the Speaker walked him out of Parliament, because it was just becoming of him. And the Speaker thought that his conduct in the House was not helping him, and he walked him out of Parliament.
Yeah, I mean, and we know there's a controversy about that. He just spoken. He's actually not on the line anymore, and so that.
Yes, but he said that was the first thing. He was not cautioned, which is not true. And you could go back, take your cameras, go through the video, and you realize that he was warned for the first time. He refused to respect the Speaker, and the Speaker, the second time, the Speaker chose to walk him out of
Okay. Away from that, though,
yes.
to the issue about the referral of the members to, yes.
In fact, Speaker, as at now, has not referred anybody to the Privileges Committee. And like I said earlier, every member of Parliament should know that your actions and your inactions, whatever you do on the floor of Parliament, you are solely responsible for it. Because if you look at what happened yesterday, that I call for the Speaker to tell the leadership of the minority to render an apology to the House, and our colleague, Honorable Lydia Seyram, he asked the leadership to do it. And the leadership came out clearly that they were not going to do it because they were not liable to that because they were not holding any placards. That was when the speaker then said that, okay, we're going to go through the video. And then those who were holding those placards, the necessary actions will be taken.
And he was very specific that those identified will be referred to the Privileges Committee.
Well, I have not heard that particular ending that they will be referred to.
So what action does the speaker intend to take? Do you know?
Exactly. The actions I cannot tell because the first thing the speaker did was to tell the leadership to apologize. It could be the same thing. Individual members of parliament, if identified, could be called on to apologize to the House and our colleague member of parliament.
The minority has been very emphatic on that you're not going to get an apology.
We haven't gotten there yet because now it is not the minority again. It is not the individual members of parliament who will be seen holding the placards. And if they also decide that, okay, we are not also going to apologize, we're going to go out there to face whatever decision that the speaker is bringing, they will all walk the path to that destination.
Thankfully, their whip is on the line with us. Muntaka Mubarak is the minority chief whip. Mr. Mubarak, so this is where we are. Your colleague whip on the other side says all you need to do to avoid any sanctions is to get your members or your members who were seen holding placards apologizing for holding those cards and avoid the sanction. Will that happen?
Well, good evening to you and your listeners. Let me say what happened today in Parliament is very unfortunate. I've said it on the floor of Parliament that we were trying to trivialize the issues. Trying to measure the minors and minor the majors. We all know what's happening at the Iowa West Wagon by-election. Very unfortunate. And as a House, my prayer had always been that we're going to put our heads together to be able to deal with this. Let me say, without any reservation, and I've been very consistent, whether one way the majority or minority, I've consistently said that the House, we need to take a firm decision about this holding of placards in the chamber because I thought that it doesn't really put us in a very good light to the general public, and we need to stop it once and for all. When you come to every parliament in the world, there are three things that govern them. First, the constitution of their country. Two, their standing orders. And then three, their practices. The practice, some may be archaic, just like you have females, the mutilation of young girls, a lot of things that are happening that are traditional, people are stopping. The same, a practice could be outmoded and all of us can come to a conclusion that, look, can we put an end to this? And then try to take advantage and put it in our standards and criminalize it. You cannot just wake up because with a greater respect, we all revere to the chair. The speaker himself, I'm happy himself said it. He was one of those that I was always, jokingly talking to. Hey, you are a champion in raising placards. Today, all of a sudden, you think that can be criminalized. That's where my worry is. We've all agreed largely that it is not a good thing. But will you criminalize it when you have not come to an agreement?
Mr. Mubarak, just for clarity, did you just say that holding up the placards that said "Bloody Widow" is wrong?
I'm saying that holding placards in Parliament is one of the things that we've all done again and again and again, severally, whether in the majority or minority.
In this specific,
if you want to say that holding a placard is bad, put an end to it by drawing the attention of the House to say that from today to go, can we all agree and put it in our standing orders? Anybody who raises placards that is offensive, or even placards in general.
But there's a specific. But the only reason why this has become an issue is because of what was on the placard, and not necessarily that they were holding placards. It's what was on this placard, which is "Bloody Widow." Is the leadership of the minority endorsing that?
I've said this on the floor of the House. I said that holding placards in the House is not right. Whether it was red.
No, I'm not talking about holding placards. I think that there's no controversy there.
Whether it is red card to President Morse or calling President Mahama steelers or other things, I'm saying that let's agree that we should not hold placards in the House. Because if you are going into the content, there have been terrible other content that have been said. I hate this. Oh, you've done it to me, and then I'm also now doing it to you. Let's all agree that whether you are even doing it for a good reason or for a bad reason, stop and if you do it, it becomes a crime, then we can all pick it from there. Because when you go and show the clip and identify the members who have held the placards, regardless of what is on it, believe me, people have the opportunity to go and pick videos 4 years ago, 8 years ago, and we'll point to members and say that these members have also committed a crime. They are either to apologize or to go to apologize.
Now, Mr. Mutakha, we're out of time. Let me come in quickly on this. At a time that we are encouraging more and more women to enter into politics, and considering that, let me just finish, Mr. Mutakha. Let me just finish. At a time that we are encouraging more women to enter into politics, and we see you in Parliament raising a placard describing her as a bloody widow, you are saying that as the leadership of the House, you don't regret that, you endorse that?
Is she a widow? Is she a widow?
So why then do you put it up? If she's not the widow, why do you put it up?
Is she a widow?
Then why do you put up bloody widow? Who were you referring to?
To do with a woman. I can bet you if it was a male, I want to believe that those who, because the process that led to the member coming to the House was bloody. Then let us go there because she's a woman. I'm telling you that it has nothing to do with a woman. I have great respect for my sister, Honorable Lydia Alhassan. We welcome her into the House. What we did as Speaker before the president, I told him.
So Mr. Mutakha, let me bring you back. Let's do this quickly. You say that she's not a widow. So you say that her coming into Parliament was bloody. Why then did you not say bloody MP if you were saying you are not referring to her?
We are not referring to this. We are not doing it because.
So out of the blue, your side just decided to come to Parliament with a placard like that. Out of the blue.
It has nothing to do with her as a woman. It has nothing to do with her because at the time you were saying, they say bloody MP. She was not an MP. She was not an MP at the time they were raising those things.
So at least you were referring to her then. So you were referring to her, Mr. Mutakha. Mr. Mutakha, you just admitted that you were referring to her. Were you not? Were you referring to her or not?
I didn't raise any placard.
But you were just saying that the placard was raised prior to her becoming an MP. But you are telling me that she's not the one you were referring to. So who were you referring to, Mr. Mutakha?
I'm saying that it is leading the process that led to her coming to the House was bloody. And we needed to protest, and like I said, before we walked out, we wanted to register our protest. And
so you did not hold up a placard, but do you endorse what your MPs did or your members? You are a leader. Do you endorse what they did?
Of the House, that holding placards in the House is something that I have found over a very long period. I have always said that Parliament should take steps for all of us to agree to criminalize it so that nobody holds placards in the House. I have been very consistent on this. You can go and check the records of the House. I've been very, very, very consistent.
So will you ask them to apologize or not? Will you apologize or not?
Anybody. We will not.
Okay, we are grateful for your time. That's the Deputy Minority Chief Whip, Mr. Chief Whip, and that's Mutakha Mubarak.
So listen to News 9 on Joy 99.7 FM. When we return, we'll bring you what happened when the newly elected MP for Ayawaso West Wuogon visited those victims in the hospital today and also helped pay their hospital bills after it emerged that they have not paid their bills in spite of several visits by NDC stalwarts. Also, Kudeo and Electoral Commission on collision costs over the conduct of the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election as Observer Group contradicts EC chairperson's claims that they didn't present overall picture of the polls.
Superior services, your success of trusted, innovative financial services, providing affiliation, support and solutions. Customer-oriented, superior services, your success of 10 good years of loyalty, service with integrity, protective of our Ghanaian ground. 10 years of excellence, 10 years of loyalty, your success of passion, oh yeah, your success of passion.
Your success, our passion. Hello. I say, how did now? Vodafone normal 10 megabyte free data. It will call Smart Rubiadron. Share.
Hello, have you heard that Vodafone is giving 10 megabyte free data for every minute you talk? You just dial 50-50.
Yeah, hello. Aha! Right now, we the Vodafone people just they call plenty. Sake of us, you talk 1 minute, you go get 10 megabytes. You talk 2 minutes, you go get 20 megabytes. 3 minutes.
Call Vodafone or any network and get 10 megabytes of free data every minute you talk. It's simple. Talk to browse. The more you talk, the more data you get. Dial 50-50 to subscribe. Talk more, browse more. Terms and conditions apply.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Nationwide Medical Insurance, the leader in private health insurance, has deployed superior technology to make your healthcare experience more convenient and exciting. With the Nationwide mobile app, you can order your prescription drugs and we will deliver to your doorsteps. With over 600 dependable healthcare service providers, you're just a step away locating your service provider of choice and accessing hospital claim information in real time. Our corporate clients are guaranteed timely corporate utilization reports. We provide on-site clinics to give employees access to healthcare in the comfort of their offices. Enjoy these amazing benefits and so much more by signing on to Nationwide Medical Insurance today. Call us on toll-free number 0800-222222 or visit our website www.nationwidemh.com. Nationwide Medical Insurance. Join the healthcare family.
You're welcome back to business, and coming up, we'll be hearing from an energy expert on the current tango between the new ECG owners and the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission on the new tariff levels, and also GATS is justifying the 21% it's going to offer investors who buy into a 5-year corporate bond. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business, and also Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, and also brought to you by the bank that is at First National Bank.
It's time to experience something different, unexpected, and definitely beyond banking. It's a new era at GCB Bank, Ghana's most welcoming bank, where we offer you a world of financial security, flexibility, and convenience. We swiftly serve you with over 180 branches and 300 ATMs, and provide e-banking solutions that make it possible for you to bank anywhere, anytime. When you need a personal loan, sooner is better than later, so we give it to you in 24 hours to make sure the experience is always memorable. At GCB, your opportunities are limitless and we keep you smiling at all times. We're bigger and better, ready to take you beyond banking. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
It's the year of the car owner with Enterprise Insurance. Just dial *714*556#. Choose update your details, follow the prompts, and voila! You are in for surprises that will make your head swell big. Surprises like mobile data, useful car insurance tips, and many more. Remember, updating your details even helps to speed up the claims process. Car owner, this is your year. Insure with Enterprise. Dial *714*556# and update your details now.
Enterprise, your advantage.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, energy expert Ben Boache says he fully backed the stance of the Public Utility Regulatory Commission over disagreement on the utility tariff review. Now, this was after it emerged of some standoff between the Commission and the new owners of ECG on setting of new tariff levels. Mr. Boache tells Joy Business the new owners don't have a case.
The PRC is the body with a mandate to set tariff. And in their calculation, they just don't factor the concerns of the distributor. They look at the generator, the consumer, and the general economic development of our country. So I think nobody should coerce them. Nobody should force them to set tariffs that favor just one part. But to holistically look at the interests of everybody, including the consumer, and set a reasonable tariff. So it's surprising that, letters are flying around trying to get political coercion.
Some will say that in the case of the new owners of ECG, there was some gentleman's agreement on tariff guidelines. That was the basis for them coming on board.
Yes, the tariff guidelines wasn't a gentleman's agreement. It was developed by all the players. PRC led it, which is available to the public and to the industry players. So that is what PRC will use to set the tariff. And I think they should be allowed to do their professional job without the political interference.
Ben Boakye is an energy expert. Now, the Ghana Amalgamated Trust has justified the interest that is expected to pay on its 5-year bond. The trust is planning to pay about 21% to pension fund managers and investors that would invest in the 5-year corporate bond. However, some have raised issues on how the bond is being priced, arguing that it could affect the amount of money being raised. But the managing director of the trust, Eric Otu, says looking at the current returns on government papers, the 21 it's offering is not outside the market, and he doesn't expect it to actually affect the fundraising exercise. So Otu is optimistic that they would raise the entire or even more than what they are targeting in the offer. Now, head of Wealth Management Department at Standard Chartered Bank, Seto Kwashiga, has advised financial market operators or investors to spread the investment in order to avoid a situation of having it being locked up in tied equities. The advice follows the 2019 Market Outlook Report, which indicates that certain sectors in the economy may face some challenges since growth is expected to slow. She's therefore cautioning Ghanaian investors to pay attention to the dynamics of the market.
A year to prepare and react. Last year was turning up the heat. We had projected a few investment ideas and we said, turn it up, keep going, and so that worked for us. This year we are saying a year to prepare and react. Prepare and react because we've seen a few trends here and there, and we are advocating that, for instance, don't tie yourself up into very tight equities. Keep it simple, be nimble enough to be able to move when the tides change. What we've also said is, if you look at the current trend, emerging market bonds are the way to go.
Seto Kwashiga is head of wealth management at Standard Chartered Bank, Ghana. Now, the growing aviation industry in the country is actually attracting more financial or more players into the industry in terms of them also upscaling their service offering. And the latest French airline, that is Air France, which is upscaling its services in the country. As a result of this, the company or the airline has unveiled its new upgrade Airbus A330 in the country to provide additional comfort to passengers. Speaking to Joy Business at a media engagement, country manager of Air France, Dick Van Humen, says the country is on course to becoming an aviation hub in the sub-region.
If I look, first of all, the economic surroundings, the economics of Ghana are doing well. The country is growing, the GDP is growing. I think we have a government who's pretty business-minded, so there are a lot of opportunities for company to grow. If there is a lot of growth, there's a lot of potential for air traffic. The simple fact that the president has appointed a separate minister of aviation gives me an indication that aviation as such is very important for this government. Normally, aviation is part of the Department of Transport, but to the best of my knowledge, Ghana is the only country where we have dedicated aviation minister. That means that the government is very interested in aviation. I think if the airlines can pick up the message.
Ghana is the first among other African countries to receive this new upgrade Airbus A330. Now, the country's automobile industry continues to grow. Now, Premium Motors, the authorized dealers of Renault cars in Ghana, has unveiled its all-new 2019 Renault Duster. According to the chief executive of Premium Motors, the move is part of the company's commitment to deliver improved products and services to the Ghanaian market.
With our new Duster, we've not only worked on the shape of the vehicle. As you've seen, aesthetics have been drastically improved. The engineering has been drastically improved. The interior has been drastically improved. And most importantly, the price has gone down from the previous Duster, whereby, the previous high-end Duster was retailing around $23,500 to $24,000. Our top-of-the-line, state-of-the-art new Duster is around $22,500. So you are getting a more improved vehicle with many more features at a cheaper price.
And you heard from the chief executive of Premium Motors here in Ghana, speaking to Joy Business at the official unveiling of the 2019 Renault Duster. That is Jihad Hazizi speaking there to Joy Business. Let's turn our attention to the stock market. And Standard Chartered Bank saw its share price go down marginally, as well as Republic Bank losing some share on the market at the end of trading today. And that's all for business on News Night.
Thank you very much, George. Now, Joy News investigation is tonight revealing how interference from government officials is to be blamed for the non-functioning of the Ayalolo bus services. 245 of such buses imported by government to improve public transportation in the country have been grounded. Joy News investigation reviews the buses and the infrastructure to run them cost the nation more than 740 million Ghana cedis, but the program has stalled. In the second of an investigative series titled Grounded Wheels, Manasseh Azariawene reveals the government deviated from the implementation plan of the project designed with support from the World Bank.
In 2007, the government of Ghana, acting on the World Bank report, initiated the Urban Transport Project to build a more decent public transport system in the urban centers. Samson Jamra has been part of the project since 2008.
The objectives of the project was to improve mobility in areas of the participating MMDAs. Then the participating MMDAs were in Gama and then in Kumasi and Ejiso.
In 2016, President John Mahama commissioned the Urban Transport System, a compromised form of the Bus Rapid Transit. The legal entity created to manage what became known as the Ayalolo Bus System is the Greater Accra Passenger Transport Executive. Government imported a total of 245 buses for the Ayalolo project. Some of these buses have not moved since they came into the country in 2016. Those which were used for the pilot project have also been grounded.
The design of the Amasaman corridor required the use of 85 buses for the pilot.
Each of the Marco Polo low-entry city buses cost $251,600, making a total of $61,642,000 US. Together with the cost of developing the infrastructure, the project has cost Ghana more than $151 million US, or 742 million Ghana cedis. Out of this, only $7 million is a grant from the Global Environmental Fund. The rest are loans. The World Bank financed the infrastructural components of the project from 2008 to 2015. In an email to Joy News, the World Bank said,
in the post-completion assessment of the project, the bank rated the implementation performance unsatisfactory. The procurement of the buses by the government represented a deviation from the original plan of establishing a limited competitive regime for public transport operations along major routes. The project envisaged that the private sector operators would be responsible for providing the specified quality of buses for operations alongside designated routes based on the route license issued by the regulator. Government intervention of purchasing buses meant that the element of private sector initiative and investment in passenger transport in the bid to improve mobility is lost.
The World Bank says the business case that emerged assessed 80 buses as the initial requirement. However, the government bought 245, more than 3 times the number. The Ayalolo in its operation of the 68 buses has accumulated a debt of 12 million Ghana cedis. Now, it needs an amount of 20 million cedis to begin operations. But there's still a hurdle to scale, even if it gets the money. Our investigation revealed that interferences from politicians and government officials is the reason Ayalolo could not deal with trotro drivers who parked and loaded at dedicated Ayalolo bus lanes and bus stops. Until a solution is found, the buses will continue to waste away and Ghana will continue to pay the loans with interest. For Joy News, Manasseh Azure Arena reporting.
We can now speak to Samson Jamra, who is the CEO of the Greater Accra Passenger Transport Executive Association. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Newsnight. So what will it take to get these buses on the road?
Our immediate needs are funding our working capital requirements. We need that to be funded until we break even. And that has been put forward in a proposal by the board governing GAPTI to our supervisory ministries.
Do we know why we are unable to sustain it since we started?
Well, it's a very simple equation. We need the ridership to be able to provide the funds to cover the cost of operations. And if the ridership is not available, obviously you cannot meet the cost of the operations. And that is the situation we find ourselves in. The ridership is a factor of journey time savings, how quickly we can get our customers to their destination. And obviously, with the challenges that we have in accessing our dedicated infrastructure, we obviously can't provide that promise. And therefore, our ridership is suffering.
But that is a very interesting point, because they are yellow buses, very modern, air-conditioned, even had Wi-Fi, not rickety, very roadworthy, very convenient, very comfortable. You cannot compare the yellow buses to any of the trotro buses we have on our road, not even the long-distance buses sometimes. And we've seen some of the dedicated lanes. Admittedly, we don't have enough of that. And so you consider all that, and you still do not have enough passengers interested to use your buses?
You see, the key here is not the comfort with the journey. What we observed with our operations during the 2 years is that the key factor affecting how the customers choose our services is how fast you can get them to their destination. That is how come Trotro is much more competitive than us, because they cut corners that our big buses cannot do. And so obviously, with that in mind, we are not able to compete on that score.
What would it take to fix that problem?
Well, what it takes is really for us to have a very robust enforcement to ensure that our buses have access to the infrastructure that has been created for it. That will give us that edge in terms of journey time savings, because what has been designed on the corridor is 8 minutes journey time savings if all things are equal. And if we can have that, we can then improve upon how many customers will use our services.
From what I understand, enforcement was started and was stopped. Why?
Well, we had lots of challenges, and especially from your own sister, your own companion radio stations. I mean, there's been a lot of backlash from the Trotros utilizing the radio stations, and this has created a certain position in terms of those who supervise our operations. And therefore, as we tend to implement our enforcement, there are challenges that we face.
But with all the challenges that you've enumerated, why should government put additional money into it?
Because this is a very viable arrangement and it's sustainable. It's sustainable in terms of the fact that if we can achieve our load factor of 40 passengers per bus per trip, we will be able to make enough in terms of covering the cost of the operations, and therefore be able to demonstrate that this is the best way to go in terms of easy mobility challenges within the conurbation. So this is a very viable, sustainable arrangement if all the ingredients that we have designed come together to work to make it sustainable.
I'm grateful that you joined us. That's Samson Jamra, is the CEO of the Greater Accra Passenger Transport Executive. Times for Sports. Hello, Hans.
Hello, Evans. And I'll be telling you about the demands from Nantes as far as the transfer of Emiliano Sala is concerned. But first, the Black Satellite suffered their first defeat at the ongoing Africa Youth Championship in Niger. Ghana lost 2-0 to Senegal, who are through to the next stage of the competition and have also qualified for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. Head coach Jimmy Kobler believes they can make it despite this afternoon's defeat.
I don't know where they're coming from, seeing Mali as the second favorite, but that is their choice. We will go in very strongly. As we said, we came into this tournament because people were saying that to be the weakest team because there's no competition in our country, and in our preparation we were losing. But I want to say that we will never go out without a medal. we are sure of qualifying to the World Cup on the day when we meet Mali.
That's head coach of the Black Satellite, Jimmy Cobbler there. And Ghana must now win or draw their next game against Mali on Saturday. In a rather bizarre development, French club Nantes have demanded payment from Cardiff City over the £15 million transfer of Emiliano Sala. Sala, along with pilot David Ibbotson, was on board the Piper Malibu, which lost radar contact near Guernsey on the 21st of January. Cardiff have withheld the first scheduled payment until they are satisfied with the documentation. We understand Nantes are threatening legal action if they do not receive a payment within the next 10 days.
Hans, thank you very much with that update from the world of sports. And the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, and Electoral Commission have clashed after the Observer Group contradicted, in strongest terms, claims that they didn't present an overall picture of the polls. Now, the CODEO described as misrepresentation some comments by the EC on the group's closer polls statement on the Yawaso West Wuogon by-election, which touched on electoral violence, conduct of elections, among others. Now, addressing the media last week, the EC boss, Jim Mensah, described as false CODEO's claims that a police officer was assaulted at one of the polling stations within the constituency. It's just one of the issues that EC they discounted. Let's take a listen to that.
The Commission's check with these election officials, that is the presiding officers at the polling stations, as well as the district electoral officer in charge of the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency, proves contrary to CODEO's assertion.
But in a sharp rebuttal, National Coordinator of CODEO, Albert Ahing, says the EC's assertions were inaccurate.
CODEO wishes to state categorically that, 1, contrary to the impression created by the EC regarding the shooting incident at Labauleshi, CODEO did not indicate anywhere in its statement that the said shooting incident took place at a polling station. CODEO was clear in its statement that CODEO observers witnessed the violent incident, including shooting incident, which took place in the Labauleshi area at East Legon. The CODEO statement also did not in any way attempt to link the Electoral Commission to the shooting incident, contrary to the EC's claim. CODEO, in fact, pointed out that its observers could not confirm the exact cause of the violent incident. 2, the Electoral Commission also in its statement denied that the violent incident which took place at Labauleshi affected voting. According to the Commission, the incident did not in any way disturb the conduct of the poll. CODEO wishes to reaffirm its initial observation that as a result of the panic and chaos emanating from the shooting incident, voting was in fact temporarily disrupted at a polling station close to the shooting incident. Regarding the incident at a polling station at the precinct's JHS polling station at Roman Ridge, where a stationed uniformed police officer was attacked for questioning and directing some plainclothes security operatives at the police station to reposition themselves, CODEO stands by the account of its observer and is ready to cooperate with the Electoral Commission and the security agencies to undertake further investigation into this matter. Contrary to the Electoral Commission's suggestion that CODEO did not provide an overall picture of the conduct of the polls, CODEO wishes to draw the attention of the EC to the paragraph in the CODEO statement which noted that, apart from the main concerns regarding security arrangements for the by-election, and I quote, most observers reported of a generally smooth voting exercise, including the smooth performance of biometric devices, end of quote. The CODEO statement further touched on other issues, such as the presence of party agents at polling stations and the generally low voter turnout, which indeed has been confirmed by the EC's official turnout figure for the by-election at 19.83%.
So you heard the national coordinator of CODEO, Albert Ahin. Of course, he also says that CODEO is not fighting the EC but working together for the common good.
CODEO's observation efforts are aimed at complementing the efforts of the EC in ensuring electoral credibility. In discharging this responsibility, CODEO has always endeavored to work cooperatively and in good faith with the Electoral Commission, as CODEO sees itself not as standing in an adversarial relationship with the EC, but as working ultimately toward a common end of ensuring transparent, credible, and peaceful elections and election management in Ghana.
That's the national coordinator of CODEO, Albert Ahin.
Okay, so we have just 8 days to a night of intimacy for all couples at the Joy FM's Lovers Dinner Dance on Valentine's Day. I am particularly excited about this event, and so are members of Parliament. Yes, they are certainly not left out of this. Guess what? They have been singing some of your favorite Kojo songs. In spite of all the heat in Parliament, they can find some time to sing love songs.
Me drofu pau you leve. Me drofu pau you leve. I'm not.
Yanu mai. Bejimilete koma odo. Adianu mai. Bejimilete.
Afra front. Can you help me?
You heard that some members of Parliament, I think they should just stick to legislating and leave singing to Kojo Ntwi. But indeed, for a cool 800 Ghana cedis, you and your partner will be treated to an atmosphere of music, good food, drinks, and time with Mr. Music Man Kojo Ntwi. Now, talking about Kojo Ntwi, he has been responding to the debate that he's been trending on social media. You know, there's a debate as to whether he's better than Daddy Lumba or Daddy Lumba is better than him. He's been responding to that.
He may have his own different target, and it's not up to me to judge that my songs are better than him, or he's saying, you understand what I'm saying? Because we have existed in this industry for over 20 years, 2 decades. We've done shows together. We've done, I visit him sometimes. My wife cooks for all of us to eat. So we are more like a family. So the rivalry thing is good for the press, but I don't want them to build that thing between myself. It is for the crowd to judge whose songs are better, or time will judge us.
And Kojo Ntwi is going to be on Overdrive right after
Strong and Sassy.
Strong and Sassy is done with Nimwa. You should see Nimwa's poster for today's discussion. Oh my God.
I bet you didn't look at the topic, did you?
I've forgotten
what love is not. You're only looking at Nimwa's photo. Okay, so we're talking about what love is not. I know.
So tonight, please watch on Facebook Live. Okay, watch on Facebook Live, and then have the full package. It's good to listen to it on radio, but
what's on PM Express tonight?
Okay, PM Express tonight. You're talking about all the Presidential Commission and all that has happened so far. We're going to have crack team of people dissecting what has happened tonight with the Commission of Inquiry the President has set up tonight, and whether this really is the solution to the problem. Join us on PM Express at 9 p.m. But by the way, stay tuned to Nimwa and the crew. Please, I'm going to watch it on Facebook Live. Watch it. You tell me whether it wasn't worth your while. My name is Evans Mensah.
I am Meme Fapao.